Here are the most important differences between the Canon M50 Mark I, or the original version, and the new Mark II. Both are great mirrorless cameras for both photography and for video. I'm actually recording this video with the Canon M50 Mark I with the kit lens. The differences between the two models are small. It is almost the same camera. But I would like to group the main differences into three different buckets. And for me, the third bucket is actually the most important. The first bucket relates to autofocus, which is more flexible on the Mark II. Both models do have eye detection autofocus, but on the Mark I, that eye detection autofocus only works with still photography, whereas it also works with video on the Mark II. In addition, on the Mark I, the eye detection autofocus only works in the one-shot mode. On the Mark II, it also works in the servo mode. The second bucket of differences relates to video recording, and here there's 2 points that I want to include. Number one, the Mark II has introduced a record button on the LCD screen. And this is super helpful if you're vlogging, for example. You would make all your settings on the LCD screen, and it's very convenient that you can also start your recording there. On the Mark I, you would have to go to the other side of the camera to press the record button there. The second improvement for videography is that the Mark II supports native vertical video, which is going to be super helpful for TikToks, for Instagram Reels or Stories, or for YouTube Shorts. Now, even with the Mark I, of course, you can just rotate your video in your editing software, but the ability to have native vertical recording on the Mark II is a benefit. Then we have the third bucket of improvements, and these all relate to live streaming. If you want to live stream with your Canon M50, there are two ways to do it. Number one is that you can connect it with a USB cable to your PC, and then use the free Canon EOS webcam utility, and then your camera is going to turn up as a webcam on your system. This works with both Mark I and Mark II. The second way you can connect your camera is to use an HDMI cable. And while the Mark I does have an HDMI output, it is not a clean HDMI signal. When an HDMI signal is not clean, you're going to see all the indicators on your video feed, like your aperture and your shutter speed. Now, you can turn some of them off on the Mark I, but there's one thing that you won't be able to get rid of, and that is the focus box. Your only solution to get a clean-ish HDMI signal is to use manual focus. On the Mark II, this has been completely solved because the Mark II does have a clean HDMI signal. An additional feature on the Mark II is that you can live stream directly to YouTube from the camera over a Wi-Fi connection. You don't need to have a computer in between. Both the original M50 and the Mark II are great cameras. If you need all of those extra features that I mentioned before, definitely get the Mark II. But if you don't need them, the Canon M50 original version is going to be an excellent choice as well. I have links to both of them in the description below the video. If you want to learn more about how to live stream with the Canon M50, then click or tap the screen right here. In that video, I'll show you a couple of different ways to get started, and you'll be live streaming in no time. My name is Markus Seppälä. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.